How is CANZUK different to the European Union? CANZUK is a diplomatic alliance between Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom, promoting free movement, free trade and foreign policy cooperation between these countries. When many think of CANZUK and its proposed diplomatic arrangements, it is easy to presume that the four countries would work together in the same way as the European Union, forming a centralised government, court system and currency. But would this happen in practice? Would CANZUK become its own version of the European Union? While the EU does encompass free movement, free trade and foreign policy cooperation between its 27 member states, a CANZUK alliance would function very differently to its European counterpart. Firstly, there would be no supranational body creating laws within Canada, Australia, New Zealand or the United Kingdom. While the EU creates mandatory directives for each of its member states, the CANZUK countries would continue to act as independent nations, maintaining their parliamentary sovereignty with no supranational oversight. This gives each of the four nations the independence to draft their own laws, trade agreements and foreign policy arrangements, without the need to seek permission from a foreign parliamentary authority. Secondly, free movement between the CANZUK countries would operate under stricter protocols compared to the European Union. While the EU promotes unfettered free movement with few customs and border checks, the CANZUK nations would operate under an already established migration agreement between Australia and New Zealand. Known as the Trans-Tasman Travel Agreement, this arrangement prohibits travel and residency in Australia and New Zealand if citizens have criminal records, infectious health conditions, or are deemed to be a national security risk. If citizens do not meet the strict requirements for entry to these countries, they are barred from entering and residing, with no exceptions. By having Canada and the UK join this agreement, citizens would be able to live, work and travel between these four countries, all the while preserving national security and fostering closer diplomatic relations. Finally, under a CANZUK alliance, each country would be free to negotiate its own trade agreements without the need for supranational oversight. Whereas the 27 EU countries require trade deals to be negotiated and formulated by Brussels, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the United Kingdom would be free to develop their own trading arrangements with each other and beyond. As there would be no centralised parliament or supranational authority, the four CANZUK countries would be able to promote economic growth and prosperity by negotiating their own trade agreements as independent, sovereign nations. While CANZUK shares common values with the European Union, such as migration, trade, and foreign policy cooperation, it would function under a very different set of rules. Compared to the EU, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom would provide work, travel, and study opportunities for their citizens, all the while promoting national security, fostering international trade, and preserving parliamentary sovereignty. For more information about CANZUK and details on how to join our campaign, join us on social media or visit us online at canzuk.com.